Hey everyone, it's Rick Carson. We're at Make Believe Studios, and there are not too many things that make me as happy as the things that we're about to discuss in this video. We got Michigan, we got Nebraska, and we got microphones. Those are some of my favorite things in the world. We're hitting all those points right now. So most people don't know that EV Microphones was originally started in Buchanan, Michigan, unless you maybe own an older microphone that says that on it. And most people definitely don't know that after EV left Buchanan, they headed to Lincoln, Nebraska, which is just right up the street from us on I-80. And today, I'm sitting down with my good friend Ben, who had the pleasure of being one of the guys over at EV Microphones here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And today we're going to talk about some wonderful microphones and about your experiences there. So introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your time there.
I'm Ben, and yeah, I got lucky enough to actually work there and build microphones while they were building them here. I'm not sure if they still build them here or not. They've moved some of that away. But when I first started there, man, I didn't even know what I was doing. You know, it was just like glue this thing here. And then it turned into just kind of curiosity of like, well, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? And anyways, they let me work on these eventually.
So the RE20 is not where they threw people in. This was something you graduated to.
I mean, yeah.
So what'd you start on? Do you remember the microphone model that you started on?
Yeah, it was a 635, no, it was an RE50 ND. They painted them black, so RE50 NDB.
Okay.
And it was a weird experience. Because it was seriously like they just give you a part like this, and they're like, here, I'll take this part and put it here and glue it on or whatever.
So it was assembly line in the sense that one person was responsible for one thing.
Right.
So
and it could be various things, and it could jump from day to day, and it was just fill in the gaps and build the microphones.
But they had you start with gluing. How long before they put a soldering iron in your hand?
It might have been that day.
Okay, yeah. So you were like, I can glue, guys, and they were like, can you solder?
Yeah. I actually took the job as a soldering job. It was just the first day they just had me gluing, stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were soldering like just XLR connectors, but they had these cool little wooden blocks, and then they had it drilled out for XLRs, like all the way down, so you could load like 20 XLRs in, and then fill the pins with solder, and then we just batch built them like that.
Okay.
When I first started, yeah, it was all batch building.
How many were in a batch?
It could vary. It would go to orders that would come in, but we wouldn't really see that. We could see it, but we wouldn't interface with it. It was more like we just decide to build this many so that we have enough for them to have an order, but we were sure gonna have some failures, so like they'd overshoot it. So we'd basically just kind of have a pace, like we're gonna build 50 of these a day or 100 of these a day, and then we would just try and crank those out if we'd have parts.
Okay.
They'd run into part shortages, all kinds of.
Was the RE20 the most popular microphone?
It wasn't the highest like seller.
Okay, what was that?
I don't know. I didn't really have those numbers at all. At one point, they were selling like 2,000 of these a year. So I mean, it wasn't a lot. The 635s and the RE50s, those were like hundreds by the week. Like we were cranking those things out.
In the 635, that's the more vocal SM58 style microphone, right?
It's an Omni. It's the 635 is the smaller one. I'm glad they actually brought back the 635L, which is the longer version. It's freaking cool. It's like throwback 70s mic.
What microphone? Is this the RE50? I got one of these.
The interview mic is the RE50.
Okay, so not this one. This is.
That's like a 660 or something.
660. Yep. Yeah. You know your EV microphones.
Dude, I've seen too many to not know them.
So were you making these back then?
No.
Okay.
But yes. So the capsule that's in here is the same one or similar one in the RE16, the RE15, RE10, RE11.
Okay, so this capsule's in a lot of microphones. So
they were just different. Same but different. Some had humbuck coils, some did not.
So is this microphone close to a RE11?
It should be similar, yeah.
Okay, I know
it might not be exactly the same, but like it has the same vent tube. So like the inside of this thing is complicated and they're really hard to build. The RE16, they hardly sold any. It's like the Dolly Parton mic, right? It's got the big chrome like oblong grill or whatever. They were few and far between, like maybe 5 a day. I have no idea. I never really worked on that line. Yes. I did stuff on that line, but I didn't actually like work on that line.
Okay.
But I got to see a lot of the, like, man, it was weird. They had this insane contraption. So the thing in here has to be like airtight, and only this little vent like leaks in. It's crazy. And then these are vents right here too.
What is this whole system called? Because it's featured in quite a few of the microphones, right?
Well, it's variable D.
Yes, variable D.
Right.
So variable D, when was that invented?
I couldn't tell. I'd have to look it.
Okay,
But a while ago, a long time ago.
Yeah, and
You could argue it was invented, so the capsule in here was actually in a and a mic.
Okay.
And those, I shouldn't even say that, but just because I try to scoop them up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we can
And
keep
the
that
price
out of
on
there.
them is already blown up, so it's whatever.
I didn't know that.
They're expensive.
So this capsule comes from a and a which I didn't know existed.
Yes.
So this is a 664,
Four,
and then there's a 665. I have one of those.
Which is similar to
To
this.
this
guy,
one,
yeah.
right? Yep. Are these capsules similar? I've always been curious.
I don't
about
think
that.
so. They are.
But the
in how
665's
they're,
capsule
like,
is close to
made.
this, right?
Yeah. I would think it would even maybe be the same part, maybe not.
Okay, and then I have a question that I'm looking for a very fucking definitive answer on here. So I've heard both of these microphones referred to as the Buchanan Hammer. Which one is it?
Well, it depends on who you ask. So it really does, because some people
It really does.
some people will tell you it would be the 635. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You go to Chicago and this is the Buchanan
Right.
Hammer, you know?
Well,
you go
there's
to
a
Los
story
Angeles
that
and
one
it's
of them
this
would
thing.
pound nails into a board.
I mean,
I would guess it would be one of these older ones.
This it seems considerably poundable. I would not want to be pounding nails with this one
I
personally.
don't think that's it. It's either that one or like a 635. But I've heard stories of RE50s. Like, there's a bunch of stories.
So one thing that I've always been curious that I see as something that shares resemblances, and we're about to talk about microphones that share a lot more resemblances than these two. But what the hell is going on here? What is this contraption? Because I know that they were always doing acoustic chamber things in their microphones, and we came across a Shure microphone recently that had a removable screw at the ass end of the microphone here that changed the frequency response. So I'm assuming that this has something to do with the frequency response
It
of this
does.
microphone.
Yeah, it does. It's the variable D stuff. So this has like 3 entry points. So you have the front, I guess maybe 4, but you got the front, and then you got this thing here, and you got this thing here. There's actually a dude, his name's Rick Chin,
Okay.
right? If you look him up, he has the best, most extensive write-up on like the history of like, kind of an overall history. He does a really good job explaining a lot of the variable D stuff.
Okay.
But Shure also has a video, or they used to, where one of their engineers, he explains, he calls it variable distance. So, you know, same thing. But they've been doing it for a long time too.
Okay.
Just differently, I think.
So when we get into something like these two microphones, and for everybody at home, this is an RE20 microphone and this is a PL20, and they're very, very similar. What's the difference?
They're basically the same microphone.
It's just the color,
They're
the
same.
paint scheme.
I will say that I bet if we looked at this capsule, I could tell you the color of the glue. I could be wrong, but I would be confident enough to guess the color of the glue based on that mic, unless it's been changed.
Okay. And you know, from being an
So they might have built them slightly differently, but dude, I can't tell.
So from being an expert in these microphones, can you look at these and say what year you think they're from?
No idea.
And are there any telltale signs that
Yeah, there are. So like if you look at the connector, there's a couple numbers in there. See them?
Yeah, so this one says 11. It looks like 111.
111.
Yep.
So yeah, you could walk that back. I couldn't do it like here to tell you, no.
But that would tell you this one has no numbers.
We would just have to look up like when they made these and then correlate that date code to whatever they would have considered it.
What about one like this one?
But sometimes they can be wrong. I actually brought this up when I was there because we were using a 4-digit date code. So this is only a 3-digit. So I think there's...
That one has no numbers.
Yeah, no numbers at all. This one's definitely newer, but it's still in Buchanan. So I want to say Buchanan left or Buchanan closed in like 92,
Okay.
but I have no idea. That's a guess.
And
That's from a story somebody else told me that worked in Buchanan and actually came here from that plant. He was the only person I knew. There were two of them, but I only knew him. His name was Kirk Stiers.
Okay.
He might still be there. I'm not sure.
Okay, on Lincoln working for
Yeah,
EV?
yeah.
Interesting. So, with these microphones, a lot of people love them for vocals, a lot of people love them for kick drum. I've always been curious, do you think that there's any damage that can be caused by using this on a kick drum?
I would not use one of these on a kick drum because I have,
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't work.
Okay.
You can try it. I mean, you're a lot better than I am, but
Doesn't work as it sucks?
handle the freaking, you can't do it.
I have a special little pop filter thing that someone built for one of these, and I'm curious if I need to use it.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I tried to figure out a max SPL of these, and like, unless you want to try to go do that experiment, I don't know how much money it would cost, but there's no number.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
If you're just hitting it with sound, it's just sound energy, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, maybe over time there's like some heat. I don't think so, but
Okay, and here's a question that I have just always wanted to ask someone who's worked with dynamic microphones a lot. There's a myth going around that I don't really subscribe to, which is that if you've used a microphone on a drum, you shouldn't use it on a vocal because it's been pushed around so much that it's not the
it
same.
sounds nuts.
Yeah, they especially say it about the Beyer M88, which is,
Is it a ribbon?
No, it's a dynamic microphone, but it's like the microphone that Phil Collins likes to sing into.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like nonsense. But maybe there's some truth to it. I don't know. I mean, that'd be something I'd love to test.
We'd have to get some old Beyer dynamic M88s, it looks like.